It's Show Us Your Tips, Pro Group Racing. Daggy and Beaver with you. A low resolution, Daggy, on the backup computer today. But how are you travelling today, Beaver boy?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, mate. It's a bright and sunny day here in Sydney, and yeah, can't complain too much, mate.
Good day of racing tomorrow. We've got the Monash down at Caulfield on the nearly on the verge of spring, as well as a pretty good card at Randwick, actually, all things considered. Don't know how it's going to hold up with scratchings. We'll wait and see how many come out tomorrow. But some good racing all round. We'll kick off at Randwick, where it is a heavy 10. There's been plenty of rain, but as you've said, sun's out today. Supposed to be all right tomorrow, I believe, as well. So I can't imagine it getting much better than heavy, but at least we'll be racing the rail in a 9 metre mark, which I'm thinking is either inside rail or potentially outside fence by the end of the day, as we've seen sometimes once we start getting towards the crown there. Any thoughts how Randwick might play?
Yeah, look, you're probably looking at on pace. I think that's sort of been the way it's played in most of these days when it's been like the track's been the way it has, and in this setup. So I'd probably be looking at that to start the day and see how it tracks from there. Certainly hard to do some selections at this point in time, given some of the way the tracks have played.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll crack on and see how we go there. We kick off with what I think's a good 2-year-old race for the over the 1100 metres here. Anything got your interest in the first?
Well, it is at least it's an interesting race. I mean, it's $5 the field here, and most horses are in play. You would think some coming off some nice wins last start, and a couple resuming here. I've led towards the Waterhouse Athletica, number one. Thought it was pretty good when it was last in work in its first preparation. Won its very first start when it was well found, well backed at Newcastle, and then put in a couple of good performances in one enlisted race, and then got spelled after it probably didn't do its best work and it had enough in a Group 2, but has since trialled well and can run well here fresh.
Yeah, nice trials from Athletica. I'm going to have something on Brudenellas here if it comes to town. I really like the trials leading up to this in town. Went to Port Macquarie for a soft kill, and I know it's apparently a bit of a baby, but I think it's got a bit of talent and might get a nice running line spot here close to the pace. We'll have something on this, like we said about Athletica. I like the trials of Troach, and I think Scream, who's about 20-1. Might be a nice horse too. I think it's a good race. I'll probably be playing around Brudenell, maybe something on Scream, but we'll get a bit of an idea of how the on-pacers hold on early on in the first. The second is the Highway. Have you had a look at this at all?
I had a quick look, and if I was going to put a tip, I would go for the Massara train, Lady Patricia.
Shocked me.
It did win well last start at Tamworth. Sat on pace and was a bit wide, but absolutely brained them. And coming to town now, I think with Clipperton aboard, it can run well from the inside gate on pace. Yeah,
not much for me. You haven't had time to go through the Highway. The benchmark 72 over the 1400 metres is race 3. Snits on Fire comes out having raced yesterday at Canterbury. I know I'm not backing here, and that's a favourite. It's dead to me now, and we danced, so it's left me with the chance to... I'm looking at the two leaders, Raduna, who we spoke about last week, gets control here from Lease. I think they'll be the two controlling the pace. And third up, Lease is a good chance here as well. If by the time we get to race 3, we can see we can make ground there, Kanazawa's a bet for sure. I think it's a nice price. I think it's ready to go third up. Gets Clipperton. So assuming all things being equal, Kanazawa on top. If the rail does look the place to be, then I'll be looking towards Raduna there. Beaver, yourself?
Yeah, I just flipped them the other way. I went for Raduna, hoping it gets control here on pace. I thought its last start win was pretty good. Third up presents well here, and at the $6, I thought it was placed nicely.
Race number 4 is a benchmark 78 over the 2,000 metres, where I'm sticking with Nothing Sweet About Me, apart from having the issues in between. 2 nice wins. Inside gate here, Tim Clark will bounce straight on the pace, and to be honest, there's not a lot of pressure around it I could find. So, lovely setup here. Waterhouse up in distance leader, all ticks for me, and that's all I want to say. I actually didn't really find another danger apart from La Chevrolet, who is the wet tracker, absolute wet tracker in the race, and they'll think they're coming here with a wet track chance, of course, but there's no spoil in the price there, I think. What have you found here?
Yeah, I've gone the same way. I just think Nothing Sweet About Me either gets the lead or gets right on leader's back, and that's, I think, is the perfect way. It races. You saw last start, it just sat behind the pace, pulled out, and won well, and it beat 2 pretty decent horses, I thought, that have been going really well. I thought that was a better class of race than this. So if it's had any improvement, which I expect it probably has even from that run, it can run a huge race here. And at the 350 at the moment, I think that's a good price in this field.
Race 5 is the midway of the day over the mile. Benchmark 72 as usual. How about this race, Beaver? Anything take your fancy here? For the record, I've got Timpanist on top, but it's $8 the field, and probably rightfully so. What a mad race here.
Yeah, it is a bit that way. Look, I wouldn't be jumping in to get on and have a bet here, but looking at the form, I thought a horse like Cruel Summer could get back to the winner's circle. It had 2 nice wins, first 2 runs this preparation, and then wasn't overly disgraced in its last 2 runs. I did finish second in a similar race to this, benchmark 72. A couple of starts back as well. So its form's been good enough this preparation to run another nice race here at almost double figure odds.
Race number 6 over the 1,100 metres is a benchmark 78. I think the market reflects this, but there's 2 chances, easy 2 chances to find. Easy single going really well. A bit of a claim, gets through the soft fine, so I imagine the wet shouldn't be too much trickier for it. And Conscript, who I found last start, was very... almost unlucky. I can't say unlucky, he was so far back, but had the rails and railed through well to finish off a place there at a price for us. Outside gate here, I think rolls forward and may even take up the lead with Tim Clark on with a bit of intent. I think they're the 2 chances there. And not much more I want to talk about here. Beaver, yourself? Okay, flushing your tips away there.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen here on Easy Single. Looks pretty hard to beat here. I thought its last run was pretty good, and it was only just nutted. I think this sets up perfect for it. It's got the 3 kilo claim. Gate 3 sets up perfect, can be wherever it wants to be in the run, and looks one of the better bets on the card.
Beautiful. The quaddie kicks off race 7, a benchmark 88 over the 1,200 metres. What have you done here?
Yeah, another really interesting affair here. I kind of got it down to 2. I did stick with the favourite, Wahara Falls here. I thought its first up win was pretty impressive, winning by 3 lengths on the soft track at Randwick. Does get another 2 kilo claim, so it's actually drops 2 kilos on that win. Does go up in grade a bit here, from a 78 to an 88, but this is not a difficult benchmark 88. Again, drawn beautifully. Rhys Jones is flying at the moment. I think Wahara Falls is another really good bet on the card. I think following on from Easy Single, you can get some nice winners here. Main danger is Sir Galahad, coming up from Melbourne. Last 2 runs haven't been the best, but have been in decent company. It can turn it around and run a nice race here.
Beautiful. I've got Waihaha on Falls as well. It powered through the line last time. Had plenty up the sleeve, as you said. A weight drop on that as well. Gets unbeaten in the wet from the couple of runs it's had, which looks no problem with the Waikato stud breeding there. And I had Sniffy Fox as the main danger, another wet tracker. Joe Pride gets a lot of his stable go quite well in the wet, and has run in some nice races, has some wins over a nice win over Exotic Ruby at track and distance, which sets up well here. But was super impressed by the win of Waihaha last start. The feature, the Winter Stakes over the 1,400 metres, a listed race, is race number 8, where I just noticed Chief Elton is on top. Shan't be having anything to do with that one. 2 chances here, and that's not one of them. Jojo was a man's flying. Beaten, had some good scalps this prep. Should be undefeated, to be honest. And going really well. Gets through the wet fine. Don't know how the absolute bottomless will go. Looks like a big, strong horse to me, but we'll see how we go there. From Taksu, who does enjoy the wet, will go straight to the lead as it did last time, and we'll give it something to chase down. But I think it's a nice betting race. I think with Chief Elton in the market, it's giving us a bit of value here. Don't tell me you've tipped Chief Elton, Beaver.
100%. I can't see why you're bagging it.
Like, gate 1, Kathy O'Hara, coming from midweek Melbourne form is why I'm bagging it.
Yeah, fair call. But, mate, it's flying at the moment. It should have absolutely waltzed in last start. It was probably one of the worst rides I've ever seen in my life by Stockdale. It should have won by 3 or 4 lengths. Prior to that, ran a really nice race coming back, chasing Visionaria, who's a good horse. And before that, was killing him. I just think gate 1's not a bad actual spot for this horse. Taksu has got the gate 2. It's going to lead. Chief Elton can get off it on its back. And if it gets a shot at him in the straight, mate, it'll be winning this. I agree. Kathy O'Hara is not the best appointment.
You're going to be comfortable if it's fall back the fence?
Well, if it's fall back the fence, you're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just hoping that it can get into a decent position here. But it's flying. It finished off last start. It had no right to even finish as close as it did last start. It was only that the horse is going so good. Yeah, as I said, it's probably close to the worst ride I've seen in a long time last start. I've got it on top. I just think it's going well and can get the right run here.
Fair enough. Did we ever talk about that ride on Aaron Bay, two rides back, which I was proven right after came out and beat Cardinal Gem last week? There's been some shockers in winter down in Melbourne.
Well, you always get that a little bit, Daggy, and understandably getting caught 3 wide. But I don't know if you saw the Chief Elton race.
Yeah.
Mate, it wasn't caught wide. It had to sit and just did not push out and get the run. And it could have taken any number of runs and won the race, and then didn't take any of them, and then had to slot back, lose 2 lengths, and then charge again. It was murdered.
Yeah, I was on it, so I agree with you. So yeah. No issue, no argument about that.
I'd have been hitting the jockey up with me punting ticket to pay it, mate, because he murdered it.
That's right. I've gone through enough TVs this winter. So race 9 is the 1,100 metre benchmark 78. A couple of good chances here. What have you done?
Yeah, it's an interesting race here. Distillate will come out because it ran yesterday at Canterbury. Yep. So I think that really helps the Rubinocchi, because it will now get control and get fairly easily control, because Distillate would have probably pushed on and tested it. So from gate 1, Rubinocchi will probably just go straight to the front here, and it's going to be really, really hard to run down. Its last start was fantastic. It's going well, this preparation. Siege is the main danger. I don't see too many other chances in this race other than those 2. I think $3.50 and $4 are pretty good prices when you look at the rest of the field. You could sort of have an 80-20 bet here and chop out on one and have a nice win on the other, depending on which one wins.
Absolutely. I think Siege is the best horse, but I think Rubinocchi gets the best run. I think Siege, if it's inside rail, Rubinocchi is going to have an advantage, and if we're getting the outside, it's sort of in between their Siege. It'd need a really good ride to win. So I've got Rubinocchi on top, has the best of both worlds there from Siege, and I agree. I think they're the only 2 I would entertain, unless it's a fresh one, like perhaps a Ruby Kiss is in the wet. But with the scratchings, I think it's 2 from 1 and pretty comfortably for me as well. We finish with another 78 over the 1,400 metres. Well, we get a look at the form earlier for Crosstalk, but it's on top for me. Tim, good day for Tim Clark, actually. Nice run last time.
Waterhouse on that basis?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, stable's going quite well. Who will get control here, and was only just grabbed late by Jojo, who's flying. There's not a lot of other chances here, to be honest. Titanium Power will be, I imagine, outside lead from that gate. Will try and go forward, or might even stick to the outside fence here. Main danger, and Nick Asper has actually been putting in some decent runs. No luck last time, but Rachel King inside gate, as with some of the other runs on the day, you want a price to find that one out. But I actually think the $3 plus about Crosstalk's a good bet.
Yeah, I think you could be right here. Again, it was pretty good last start. Probably could have been rated a little bit better by Bayliss. And it might have been good enough to hold on against Jojo. Probably the only thing that concerns me a little bit is the weight, the 59. But a lot of horses are weighted up here to their best, so it's not giving a lot away.
57 minimum, so I didn't worry.
I was trying to line up Cyclone Sally's form in a race like this. It is midweek Sandown, but it has been winning by 3 and 4 lengths. But they were filly and mare benchmark 70s. So
I'm actually giving Cyclone a better chance than the one earlier. Actually, I agree with you.
So trying to line that up's pretty hard in gate 13. I think it's probably going to come across and have to sit outside Crosstalk and do all the work. Whether it's good enough to run past it, I don't know. I thought Pert in a way was the main danger. I thought it could just follow across Cyclone Sally and maybe sit behind him. And if there's any chinks in the armour up front, it could be the one just poking its nose in front at the end.
Very good. For progroupracing.com.au, of course, check them out for all the racing news and goings on. I guess I'll pull out a Sydney Quaddie, shall I? We'll go.
You should.
Unless you really want one. The first, we'll go race. We'll go number 9, Snippy Fox. 11, Waihaha Falls. 12, El Buena. Into 3, Taksu. What do I do with Oscar Zulu, Beaver? I'll leave it out. 3, Taksu. 5, Monagal. 12, Jojo Was a Man, and 15, Chief Altony. Into 1, Siege, 2, Rubinocchi, 10, Ruby Kisses, and we'll come home with 1, Titanium Power, 4, Silent Agenda, and 7 Crosstalk, 13 Perino, 14, Cyclone Sally. Do you have a best and value for Randwick?
Yeah, I'm pretty keen on a fair few bets, particularly later in the day. I think.
You know what? If it wasn't like if you didn't know it wasn't a bog track, it's a really good betting card, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of the horses I've tipped sort of in the last 4 or 5 races. I think I'll be disappointed if at least 3 of those don't win. My best bet of the day comes up in race 7, number 11, Waterhouse Falls. I think it's going to be one of the hardest to beat on the day. And my value bet comes up in race number 1, Athletica.
Nice. I'm going to make Waihaha my best as well. I'm with you there. We'll double down on that. And I'll make my value. I'll make it in a 2-year-old race as well. Number 5, Brudenell. Maybe a nice exotic play for us to start the day at Randwick and get a feel for the track. We head down to Caulfield for the John Monash card. As I said, usually the lead up to spring. It's not far away. It's a bit earlier than it usually is, but just starting to poke its head over the horizon is the Spring Carnival. We're on a good track, which is a nice change. The rail in the wherever it is, 3 metre mark. It should be a bit of drizzle around, but we sort of know what we get with Caulfield. We'll watch for any screaming on pace bias even, but it should be okay. We kick off again with over the 1100 metres again for the babies. Beaver, how are you starting today?
Yeah, this was a bit of a lottery for me. Really hard to line these up. You got Moody with two new starters in the affair, and then you've got 3 or 4 horses that are resuming, and a couple others that have ran well. I really found it hard to line these up. If I was having a bet at this early stage, I was probably looking at number 4 Jukebox Flyer from the Sydney yard. Won its first up at Newcastle quite nicely, and then trialled well at Hawkesbury for this to be taken down to Melbourne. So I thought I would go for the Sydney sider going down there, looking for a good track.
Yeah, I had a few looks at it too. It's a tricky race. I like the trials of Tappan 3, the Moody first starter, as you mentioned. I've gone a bit blue here. I've gone with Seven Sisters resuming, who a couple of nice early runs last prep, then wasn't far off Revolutionary Miss in the Blue Diamond Prelude. Has come back, trialled okay, and inside gate here should get a nice stalking run. You can forgive Panache, first time down in Court Wide, first time down in Melbourne, and yeah, then I had the Moody Runners and Jukebox Flyer, but tricky way to start the day. I'll probably have a small investment on both the Godolphin runners there. The 1100 metres benchmark 78 is race 2. This is tricky stuff. I've got Darylina Bell on top. Not particularly keen to be flying into it. I'd want $4 or $5 at least, probably $5 at least to back here, but is due for a win. Coming through some okay Sydney form, and will run well here. Diamonds in the Sky back on the dry will run well at $11, and the one I'm keen to back as well, and it's 30-1, is Zipping Boy. Was sent up to Queensland, not a lot of luck, didn't do a great deal up there, I'll be honest, but was stuck wide a few times. Has come back to Jerome Hunter, has trialled very well for this, and at 30s back to dry tracks, I think can run a race here. So we'll see how it goes. What have you made of this, Beaver?
Mate, I've got, this is a really open race with plenty of chances. I've got 2 I'm pretty keen on at double figure odds here. Number 8, The General. It's finally now got a draw in gate 1. It raced in better class company and was caught 3 wide on pace last start at Caulfield. And stuck on okay. Wasn't the worst. And then its 2 runs prior to that weren't too bad. I think The General will go forward. It's got Blake McDougall this time in rather than Laura Lafferty.
Yep.
So I think that's a big positive there. McDougall is flying. So really keen on The General at $12. And I think another one at about the $20 mark is Moss Job. Had 4 starts in this preparation, have been really good in lower class company, but ran a awesome race last start, won by 5 lengths at the Ballarat Synthetic. And prior to that was going pretty good in some okay races as well. I think you'll find that it may run a nice race now coming to town. So keen to play both of those actually at the odds.
It's the race for it, so why not? I think you could run this 10 times and have 10 different winners just about.
Well, I think I'm going to have one of the 2, hopefully, mate.
I think we've covered the whole field, so yeah, I think we'll be right.
You normally do.
2,000 metres is up next, a handicap for the 3-year-olds here. Is it time for Oceania Blue? Have you had enough of it? Does gate 1 leave you a bit? It's going to go back from gate 1, I'd assume. Does it leave you a bit cold?
It does leave me a little bit cold, and for that reason, I've kind of left it out. Again, this is another race with a zillion chances. Really open race here. I kind of narrowed it down to 2. The 2 that I come up with was Bigolino from the Paddy Payne stable. Won its last 2. Seems to be able to find the line. It's 3 out of 4, and wasn't the worst run when it finished 4th at Pakenham in its only failure. I think it can run a nice race, and I'm keen on Alverdun as well from the Busselton Young stable. It was pretty good last start over the 2,000. Found the line okay and just keeps stepping up. 2 starts back, beat Copperfield, and Copperfield ran another nice race, only just getting beat the other day. So I think it can run a nice race at double figure odds as well.
I found the same too. I don't have much to add for all the same reasoning. when I went back and looked again at that last win of Alvedon, it was quite soft through the line as well. And I think $9.50 is a fantastic price here. From Begolino, you've covered this race perfectly, so let's move on to the benchmark 78 over the 2,000 metres. What are we saying here? I'm saying there's two chances. Impulso, nice Australian debut, won well from Eaglemont, who I think almost overperformed in the Sydney race. Before that, won well. Jai McNeil, inside gate, shouldn't be too far from the pace either. I think that's pretty much the race for me.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I'm sticking with Impulso. I thought its first up win was good. I think it'll be further improved here, and the 2,000 metres is right up its alley. The rest of the field here is pretty weak. So if it reproduces that form, it'll win.
Absolutely. Speaking of reproducing form and winning, race 5 is the 1,100 metres for the 3-year-old boys. Do we need to talk about much more than the favourite here?
I don't think so. I think it's probably $1.70 is pretty good price at the moment, to be honest. Yeah, it's a good horse. Horse, yep. And this is average field. Probably should be shorter, to be honest.
Yeah, the only dangers are if plagiarised or attractable first up have improved, but they'd need to improve a bit, I would say. It was very impressive last start. Should get control and I guess made a believer. So that's about all we've got to say about this one. The girls' version is the 1,100 metres, a bit of a wider field. Where I was, what was I doing here? You go first. Oh, no, that's it. Was I mad in looking for Cloudy here at 20s? It's came through some of the better stuff last time. Didn't have a lot of luck. It's trolled okay for this. Just okay. If the trolls had been better, actually, I would have probably been keener, but might have something small at the big price. Mrs. Chrissy was very impressive on debut, though, and will bounce forward from the gate. We'll have one job. We'll see how it handles a bit more pressure up front, but will run well. If it doesn't, Si's got the perfect draw, perfect rider, and perfect stable to snipe it off and remain undefeated. So I was the two favourites as a market suggested, something small on Cloudy. What have you done here?
Yeah, I just kind of went away from both of those favourites. While their wins have been pretty good, to date they haven't been. I'm not getting too carried away with them until it's in better class company. I've gone for 2 again at double figure odds to play around. I've gone for Forbidden City, resuming here. Last time it resumed, it won by 8 lengths at Sandown. So I think that's as good as form as either of the top two, beating Ocean Radar. And then went to Group Company where it did run last, and then it ran third in a decent race when it was on speed at Sandown. It's drawn a bit wide, but it's possible a couple of scratchings, but it'll probably go forward, and I think it can give a good sight. And Nikolai, I thought its first up run at Caulfield was pretty good too, over the 1,000, was near last on the turn and finished 5 lengths behind Inundation, which brained him anyway. So it wasn't far behind the second, third horses that went across the line there. So I think it can have some natural improvement here. The extra 100 will suit. The one gate might be a bit of a problem, but maybe it gets a cosy run and can explode late.
Very good. Good luck as well to Muzz in Forza, and the crew in Forsanini there, heading down to Melbourne. Just on Forbidden City, he's just starting to put together a nice team again, Peter Moody. Starting to really start to hit his straps back in business now. Benchmark 84 over the 1,700 is up next, where, having done it all, I went back and found that Lyrical Lad was the favourite. I do have it on top. Was probably expecting a little bit better of a price, but you said, as we've said, it beat Chief Outley last start, perhaps luckily, but gets a nice run again here and should figure again. Somerset Morn wasn't given every chance last time. I think now third up, ready to run a race with Craig Williams going on. And do I want to talk about much else here? Not really. Tricky race. Turbo run well again. And Long Arm Resuming may run well. But Lyrical Lad on top for me here, Beaver. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a trap race here. So I kind of went for a bit of value. I went for Turbo from the Brody Oak stable. Been pretty consistent this time in. I thought its run last start behind a pretty decent horse, which we'll see shortly later in the day, was pretty good. And that was after coming over from Adelaide. So it's sort of been mixing between Melbourne and Adelaide. I think he can run well around that each way all day. Mark.
The feature is the John Monash Stakes over the 1100 metres, the Group 3. Look, can you trust Oxley Road these days, Beaver?
Well, I think you got to like last preparation wasn't too bad, mate. I think it, ran second first up behind Marine One, which we know is a quality horse, and then in the Group 1 was only 2 lengths behind Marabi. Like with those, just taking those 2 runs alone, it'll be winning those if it's anywhere near that. Failed in the Newmarket, I think it was. So happy to put a line through that, and then it was put out for a spell. So it's had some time here. Look, it goes well fresh. I think it's a nice bet, to be honest.
No, fair enough. I think there's a lot of pace here, which is the concern. A few will push forward. Sartorial Splendor, Oxley, Maliva, a few of those sort of horses. So I end up going with Maliva on top, maybe getting the best run of those. But a tricky race. Oxley Road might come out and brain him. Maybe wants Sting out of the ground was the other thought, but we'll see how it goes. If there is a lot of pace, so Ashford Street is the one that's flying. Does get the perfect run here, up to 1100 from a couple of 1,000-metre wins. Sets up nice. I think it'll be in the finish, but I think now there's some classier horses in the form of Maliva and Oxley Road that it has to get past. But a tricky one, and one you I'm guessing may throw a few in the quaddie for. 1,400 metres, benchmark 100 takes us home. How's about this for a bit of a gala to finish the day? But you mentioned here's our Bonneville earlier. Is that the way you're sticking?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think it's that much of a lottery. His Bonneville was outstanding first up. It had the right run, but it just exploded around him. I think its fitness started to tell on the line, but it hit the front quite early and had to keep going there and hold on. Interestingly, they've kept it over the 1,400, which is a good sign for me. It drops a couple of kilos while going up in class here, but I thought it was a pretty good run. Drawn gate 5 here, 53 on its back. I think it's drawn to get sort of the 1 out, 1 back, 1 out, 2 back place here and do the same thing. When the whips are cracking, it's probably going to take off around the bend, hit the front, and hard to hold out.
Well, it's Craig Newitt. He's not going to die wondering, which is a good thing. Yeah, okay. I have it on top as well. Fio mentioned away from it. Bams and Fire, the stablemate, resumed quite well. It's 20s, and I'll probably be looking to maybe have something small in Lakeen, maybe for my own sanity. Otherwise, might be cut and dry here. Couple for the quaddie, if you want to go really wide for me, maybe an Irish Flame and the debuting Schwoy Heists, if you really want to look for a knockout in the quaddie. But I'm only looking for things to talk about now. Here's Abonavale on top from Lakeen and Bams. Do you want to do your quaddie first?
Yeah, let's rip into the quaddie. In the first leg, which comes up in race 6, I'm going number 3, No Way Ever, number 7, Psy, number 13, Forbidden City, number 14, Miss Chrissy, and number 15, Nicolaites. In the second leg, race 7, I'm going number 1, Adelaide Ace, number 9, Lyrical Lad, number 13, Turbo, and number 15, Good and Proper. In the race 8, in the fourth leg, I'm going number 4, Oxley Road, number 5, Ashford Street, number 8, Maliva. And to finish the day, I'm going number 5, Tabby Dance, number 8, Curran. Number 10, Pro Consent. Number 15, He's Our Bonneville. And number 18, Ungawa.
Excellent. I'm going to make my best. I'm going to make my best on the day Impulsor, and my value Alverdun in the 3-year-old race. What have you done for progretracing.com.au?
My best comes up in the last race, 9, number 15. He's Our Bonneville. I really like it. And then my value bet comes up in race 2, number 8, The General.
Good stuff, Beaver. What have you got for us up north?
Up north, got a couple of tips up north on another heavy track.
Yeah.
I've got race 3, number 2, Subterranean. I think it'll be hard to beat. It's good win there. Race 5, number 7, Goldsborough. Will be running well. Best bet on the day up there, race 7, number 4, Uncommon James. And then in race 9, number 3, Xanafer. Around the $7 mark is my value.
Love your work, mate. Good job. Check out progretracing.com.au. Stay safe and dry, guys. Hope everyone's getting through the rough weather in Sydney okay. Until next time, good punting, and we will talk soon.